Hello everyone, my name is Tyler Wilson, and my name is Tyler Wilson, and I am joined here today with Darren Puller from Google, and we are here to present why your Google Analytics tracking is costing you money, or more specifically, your dealership. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me here today, and Darren, and hopefully everybody can walk away today having learned something or having some key insights that will help them optimize their digital marketing strategy. Okay, so again, my name is Tyler Wilson. I am the digital strategist here at J&L Marketing, and I'm joined by Darren Puller, our Google Account Development Manager. We're very lucky to be Google partners and have a relationship with Google, and Darren is our go-to support over there. And he is here with us as well to help give everybody some key insights. So just a brief introduction to J&L Marketing, and everybody who may not be familiar with J&L. Just some of our core values and some of the things that we strive to follow is we're innovative and we're passionate, and we have a can-do attitude. We deliver results. We have honesty and integrity, and these are the core values that we strive for as a company as we work with and deliver results for our clients. Been in the industry, automotive specifically, for over 26 years, focusing around direct and digital marketing solutions. Throughout that span, we worked with over 3,000 clients across the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 groups. So we worked with everybody from the OEMs, the dealership groups at the Tier 2 level, down to the dealerships at the Tier 3 level. And what we do is ultimately we engineer powerful traffic and conversion solutions for the automotive industry. So we work with you and we work with your teams to make sure that we understand your business goals, and then we tailor to optimize and hit those goals. So just a little brief introduction about the webinar and why everybody's here today. Why your Google Analytics is tracking is costing you money or your dealership money, and not necessarily Google Analytics tracking, but conversion in general, whether you use Google AdWords, Google Analytics, maybe you use some Facebook or some Amazon, whatever digital channels that you are serving via marketing or advertising purposes, it's very important that your conversion tracking is in line with not only your business goals, but you have good measurable KPIs that you can optimize and you can strive towards hitting those business goals, and they align towards helping you achieve those goals. So today, what we're going to walk through is Darren's going to give us a nice understanding of the current digital landscape and trends, the trends not only across digital, but also across automotive, and how those two work together. And then we're going to get into which key performance indicators to track and why you should be tracking them, how to break down those KPIs and how they align with your specific business goals. And then we're going to look at what are the different digital channels and what are the conversion points that you can track associated with each one of those unique channels. We're going to look at some key insights and identify how the funnel and the user engagement aligns with the levels of intent. So as people are going through their awareness and consideration phases, how do the KPIs and the metrics you're tracking align with your business goals? And then ultimately, we're going to look at how we can improve digital efforts across the board. So just a brief intro about what is a Google partner, and Darren will get more into it. But basically, we are very lucky here at J&L. Out of the 120,000 agencies, less than 5% get the support that we get here. A Google partner is a program that Google AdWords and their advertising agencies work together with marketing for companies such as J&L, and they provide very outstanding and cutting-edge innovation resources to help our customers reach their goals. So Darren is our agency account. We've got some strategy people that can help us optimize campaigns and always provide key insights or maybe exclusive betas that we have offers to that allow us to stay ahead of the game, allow us to be innovative and cutting edge with our clients. We have obviously all the resources that Google can offer with their industry trend analysis, key insights, and reporting. So partnership is something that we're very proud of, and we're very happy and honored to have Darren here today to kind of through and give everybody up to speed on some of the information that Google can provide. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Darren Puller, our Google Account Development Manager, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Darren and let him and his findings.
All right. Thank you very much, Tyler, for that great introduction. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm grateful to be here. And can everybody see my screen now? It says Dealer Business Growth in the Digital Age. Can you see that, Tyler?
Yes, I can see that.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to be focusing on the use and the power of Google AdWords to help grow your dealership online. That's going to be the focus of what we're going to be talking about. And as my friend Tyler said, my name is Darren Puller. I'm an account development manager for the Google agency team and support J&L marketing. And so the agenda that I'm going to be focusing on is really going to be talking about why online, why now, why Google, and why work with our friends here at J&L Marketing. And so as it relates to why now, one of the big things out there, essentially, people will oftentimes pick up their mobile phone the first thing in the morning and put it down the last thing they do before they go to bed. And these are essentially micro moments or micro opportunities for you to get in front of them. And we refer to a micro moment as sort of an intent-rich moment which a person turns to a device to act on some kind of inspiration, a need to know, to go, to do, or to buy, which is what the word we like, right? And essentially these micro moments have changed the customer journey. There's really an immediacy of action, acting on any kind of stimulus that inspires people and motivates people to do so. And really people have high expectations. They want relevance. They want a smooth and easy, frictionless experience. And oftentimes what happens is unscripted decisions may happen. So there's, in other words, more loyalty to the need in the moment than versus a brand. For example, somebody might have the intention to go to a certain dealership, maybe look for a Honda Accord, and then some other dealership that's closer to them and inspires them with one of their ads and go, oh, maybe I'll go over here and look at a Honda Accord or maybe even something else. So it's very important to be out there in front of them because there's those I want to know moments. I want to know more about the cars in my areas. I want to go and do a test drive. I want to do moments and I want to buy moments. And so in those I want to know moments, 65% of online consumers look up information versus a few years ago. And I'm just going to highlight a few of these points here. And then there's been a 2% increase in those near me searches in the past year. So if somebody does a search for car dealership near me, a lot of times that could make the difference if they could find you and be inspired to go to your car lot, essentially. And there's I want to do moments. And a key point here is there's like 100 million hours of how-to content that have been watched online. And some dealerships will put some interesting insights as to, how to do certain things with car, maybe change tires or change your oil. And then they find information from you useful and it plants a seed in their mind and then more likely to do things with you, go to your car lot when they actually need to purchase a car and things like that. Another key 9% increase in the mobile conversion rates in the past year. People are feeling more comfortable. The phones are getting bigger, so it's easier to fill form if they want to set up a time to come into your dealership or showroom, make a phone call to you, whatever it may be. And so some of the key takeaways for micro moments is you really want to be there. You really want to anticipate those micro moments for your target audience and commit to inspiring them when those moments occur, those micro opportunities for you. And you want to be useful. You want to provide insights and a relevant experience for your clients, soon-to-be clients, give them the answers that they're looking for, and you want those. You want to be accountable. You want things to be seamless and smooth, whether they're on a mobile phone, a tablet, or a PC, or whatever it may be. So why now? So this is an interesting slide. Does your marketing spend align with your audience is a good question to ask yourselves. So if you look on the left-hand side here, it talks about the North American media consumption, which is 42.8% on digital. And you can see on down the line on the left what it is on TV, radio, newspapers, and magazines. And then if you look at the right, the North American media ad spend, 24.9% on digital, so a difference of almost 18%. So if you want to be savvy and strategic, what you may want to consider doing is shifting some of your budget from TV, radio, especially newspapers and magazines, as it looks here, shift that over to digital if you want to position yourselves to get a better return on your investment, better results, more success, and more car sales. And there's really trillions of searches made globally on Google every year, which is huge. And of that, over half of them happen on mobile. And that's 40,000 Google searches in the US every second. There's our friend Mr. Burns saying how excellent that is, and it's pretty significant. And so as an example, here's our friend Brad, and let's say he wants to replace his pickup truck. And one of the ways that he might start that process is do a simple search like car dealer near me, or a truck dealer near me, whatever it may be. And you could see on Google Trends here, the car dealerships, how that's trending upwards, and the car dealers near me is spiking even higher upwards. So that's really an important piece of the puzzle, and working with a company like J&L Marketing, they can get those location extensions attached, and they can make sure that you show up as a car dealer near them actually, I should say. And just a brief thing about message ads, and it's just another way for you can connect to any prospects out there, whether it's on a website, an app, a phone, in person, or through messaging. And just a couple quick points about that. Text messaging is the most smartphone feature that's used the most. And on average, text messages are open within 3 minutes, over 90% open rate. It's really big with millennials, as you can see here, and 65% of consumers would say they consider using messaging. And maybe that isn't something that has sprung out in your mind up until this point, but it's another thing that J&L can help you with to position you for another way to capture more clients. And some of the things you could do with it is convert via text, schedule a call to set up an appointment for them to do a test drive, or even get them on a list so you can follow back up with them, re-engage with them, basically re-market to them, retarget them via text. So why Google? All these different platforms on Google, there's over 1 billion users each, and one of the things to be mindful of is automakers' ad spending on display will surpass search in 2017, according to a really great resource, eMarketer. So that's pretty hugely significant, because a lot of agencies out there don't have all the sophisticated knowledge and insights and skills that J&L Marketing does in terms of all these different Google platforms, display being one of them. And so a lot of people just use search and they don't know all the rest, and J&L is a lot more sophisticated than that. And it's good to be also aware that consumers consult an average of 10.4 sources before purchasing, before taking the next step and the action you want them to take. So J&L can help you with all these different marketing channels. And this is an interesting point too. 79% of the time online is spent across websites, mobile, YouTube, Gmail, and only 21% is spent in that proactive search mode. And it's really something important to be mindful of. So remarketing is something that J&L can help you with. It's just a great way. For example, here, if you drive 100 people to your site and 4 people are inspired enough to want to come down to your car dealership to test drive a car, what about those other 96 people? Wouldn't it be good to follow back up with them, re-engage with them, retarget them, remarket to them instead of letting them disappear off in the ether, because then you can get an additional 3 of those folks, and J&L is really savvy to be able to help you with things like that. And another thing that J&L is very savvy at is using Gmail. And a good thing to be mindful of is 1 billion monthly active users across the globe. 86% of people globally use email more than any other type of daily activity. So it's a huge piece of the puzzle to drive awareness and influence. People are using it. 56% of people listed email as the preferred method to receive marketing. And you can see these other data points on down the line. A very important thing, and J&L is very savvy and uses this very strategic. A lot of agencies aren't even mindful of it, so it's very important to keep in mind. And basically how it works is top up, an ad will appear in the promotions or social tab. You gain prime visibility in their inbox, and essentially you're only charged when somebody is inspired enough to choose to engage and actually open up the email. So if they don't open it, you don't get charged anything. And even if you do get charged, it's very cost effective, and J&L Marketing has used this to really lower cost per click and decrease cost per acquisition. So it's a very effective strategy that they're very savvy on. Then there's also YouTube. It's the second largest search engine in the world, and it's really becoming more and more prominent even in the auto dealership space, in automotive. So YouTube reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds than any broadcast or cable or TV network on mobile alone. This is talking about. And you could see some of the distinctions as it relates to 8 out of 10 18 to 49-year-olds watch YouTube. And then in 2015, 18 to 49-year-olds spent 4% less time watching TV, while YouTube went up by 74%. And here's some just stats to be mindful of from eMarketer again as it relates to how digital formats are going to be growing. You can see automotive there close to the top as it relates to switching from TV to digital. And you can see it will grow 17.6% in 2017, which is hugely significant as well. And also spending on digital video ads by auto companies will increase 30.7% in 2017, according here to eMarketer and all their vast array of research. And also an increased focus on digital spending will help, put a healthy growth of auto spending. You can see how it's quite a bit above average automotive as compared to other different verticals. And so it's really important to be there, be useful, and be quick. So when we say be there, showing up gets your brand in the game, but it's not necessarily, if it's not seen, I always like to say, the choice you never know is a choice you'll never make. So when you think about it, many brands aren't really brand committed. So 51% of smartphone users have discovered a new company or product when conducting a search on their smartphones. And mindful of is you get a shot at your competitors' customers. 1 in 3 smartphone users have purchased from a brand or a company other than the one they were originally looking for if they had the information provided them, inspired them in the moment that they needed it. And then driving awareness went up by 46% as well. So it's just some important things to be mindful of. And this is talking about without being useful in the moment, not only will consumers move on, they'll actually might not come back. So this is what I was referring to earlier about how 73% of consumers say regularly getting useful information, whether it be through text, whether it be through YouTube videos or through email. That's one of the most important attributes when selecting a brand or to go with. And then 51% of smartphone users have bought another brand other than the one they intended because some other information inspired them and was more useful to them. And 61% are likely to buy from companies that customize the mobile information to their specific location. That's really important to people. And this is just talking about the importance of speed. 40% will abandon a site if it takes over 3 seconds to load. 29% will switch to another site if the app is not very fluent. And then 1 to 5 will never return to a website if they have challenges on it. So J&L can help you with that aspect of things as well. And so it's just some things to be mindful of, kind of a checklist. You got to identify those moments, be there, understand your share of intent. Tap into those audience passions, create educational content. Make sure you use location extensions, and as I mentioned, J&L can help you with that. And provide how-to video content can be an advantage for you, and just empower all the different channels. And then be quick, eliminate any extra steps, anticipate needs, and load fast is really important. And so one of the things that Tyler is going to be touching more on is the importance of conversion tracking and Google Analytics, which J&L Marketing has multiple people that are certified and really savvy with all that. And it's really important because it gives you the ability to track what happens after a customer clicks on your ads, whether they purchase the product, filled out a form, or whatever it may be. And then allows advertisers to measure kind of which ads, keywords, campaigns are inspiring and driving business. And then after determining the key performance indicators, they can be adjusted and invested more wisely into the best performing bids, ads, and keywords. And so another important piece of the puzzle that Tyler may touch is the importance of attribution. And 66% of all your conversions take place after multiple ad clicks. So it's really important to keep that in mind. And then 60% more conversions take place on mobile devices. So a lot of times if somebody sees a Google ad initially, they might get interrupted, get distracted, so they don't take the action you want them to take in that very second. But then that seed was planted in their mind, and then they're inspired later to see it. Maybe they see it on social media, and they go, oh, yeah, I was going to do that. And then they see it through remarketing. I was going to do a test drive with these guys. And then finally, they take the action you want them to take. And there's a whole chain reaction that J&L Marketing can help you see and see the value of how these AdWords can assist in this process. So why work with J&L Marketing? In addition to what I was just talking about, reasons. You know, the value of a partner agency, all their market knowledge is huge. They're very sophisticated in all kinds of different ways. And one of the things that I do these quarterly business reviews with them, and they are outshining their peers in some very important areas. For example, as it relates to general quality metrics in what we call click-through rate, they're at like 9 to 10% on desktops and smartphones, where they're a peer group. Other agencies like them, their competition basically is about more like 4 and 5%. And also they're at like 9 and 10% on search compared to their peers averaging about 3%. So they're really outshining them in important areas. Also with negative keywords, they're ranging anywhere from 7,717 to 14,034 per account. And their peer group, their competition, other agencies are only from 981 to 1012, which basically, if you're not familiar with negative keywords, it's basically filtering out irrelevant traffic that doesn't help you, so you use your money is spent more wisely and gives you a better return on your investment is the bottom line. Plus they have multiple people certified, more so than the vast majority of agencies out there, so they can really help you with your performance and really help you save time. They always say that time is money, and they can give you more peace of mind knowing that you can hand the ball off to them, experts at J&L Marketing, and feel good about that and know that things are getting taken care of and you're going to get great results. So what does the partnership mean for you? Really, again, optimal performance. You got a dedicated team to provide these custom recommendations at account level. Also cutting-edge products like Tyler was alluding to before, things access to betas. I just wanted to mention the message extensions, for example. That was a beta at one point. And there's other betas that they have access to that can basically give you like a competitive advantage like 2, 3, 4, 5 months ahead of time sometimes than your competition, and getting some cutting-edge products in the mix. And so growth, together we know what it takes to win and help you exceed your goals. And as Tyler mentioned, you know, of the 120,000 agencies out there, only 5% get this type of support from the Google agency team. So that aspect alone is a huge point, and why we definitely recommend J&L Marketing as a great agency to go with and get you some great results. So with that, that's pretty much my time. I'm going to hand the ball back over to our friend Tyler here. He's going to give you some more great insights and take it from here.
All right, Darren. Well, thank you so much for presenting. I'm glad that you were able to give everybody a little bit of insights about what's going on right now in the digital landscape. And you know, as it's no surprise, digital marketing and digital advertising continues to grow and surpass all the other mediums. So I think it's important now more than ever that everybody understands, you know, what are all the channels out there that you can advertise or market through, but more importantly, how to measure those channels and how to measure specific KPIs that align with your business goals. So right now, we've got a few poll questions that we're going to put up and give all the attendees a few minutes to respond to, but also anytime throughout the presentation, if anybody has any questions whatsoever, feel free to send them our way. We've already had a couple come through, and we're going to get to all those at the question and answer session here at the end. But we're going to throw up some polls here now, so everybody can work through those. Okay, and just the first poll is, are you currently tracking conversions through digital marketing or through your website? And typically, this can be done through Google Analytics, Google AdWords. Maybe you use some sort of third-party management tool. You can also track conversions through that. But it's important to just keep track of everything that you're doing online, because it's really the only way that you're able to measure the full impact of what's happening and then optimize and make adjustments to hit your goals. Okay, so the next question is, what KPIs are you currently tracking on your website? This is to everybody that did answer that they're currently tracking. We're just kind of interested in what are some of the things that you are tracking or what's important to you. Okay, and then moving on, we're always interested. So, what part of your marketing budget is currently allocated towards digital? As Darren showed, it looks like about 25% of current advertisers are allocating digital spend, but it doesn't really align with the consumption, as we saw about 42% of people or consumers are actually going to digital for their media. Okay, and then our final question, again, this relates to your budget. What are you currently spending on digital as far as your monthly budget goes for marketing or advertising? All right, well, thank you, everybody, for voting in the polls or filling out your required information. And now, again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to type them in the question box and send them our way, and we'll have about 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the presentation to, get to those questions, and hopefully we can provide some answers for you. So again, my name is Tyler Wilson. I'm a digital marketing strategist here at J&L Marketing. I have over a decade of experience in digital, working with Fortune 500 companies all the way to small businesses. So I've had the luxury and privilege of working with a number of different companies across an industry or a multitude of industries. And I'm very happy and excited to be here now working in the automotive space and with a company with J&L that has so much expertise and experience in this automotive. Okay, so today's webinar. So why is your Google Analytics tracking costing you money, your dealership money? And again, not necessarily just Google Analytics, but your conversion tracking in general. Where's the misconnection? Okay, so for anybody that's not really familiar with Google Analytics, just a little brief overview of what it is and how it works is it's a free software that website providers or website companies or anybody that has a website in general or digital marketers use to keep track of what's going on their website. So what you do is you implement a small snippet of code, and you can put that on all the pages of your site, so typically a header or somewhere within your theme copy. And what that will do is it will track everything that happens on your website. So you'll get as you can see in the screenshot here, you've got a nice little brief overview of how many sessions have you had, how many users are you generating, what is their engagement like, how many pages per session are they viewing, what's their average session duration, as in how long are they spending on your website, and what % of new users compared to returning users do you have? Maybe you want to do some conquesting and you want to really go after new customers, or maybe you want to try to reel in some of those retaining customers. But you can also take a really microscopic look at a lot of different factors. You can look at geolocation, so where is your traffic coming from? You can even drill down to the city or state or region. And you can also look at by device. So are people coming from a desktop? Are they coming from a mobile device? Are they coming from a tablet? What times of day are they coming? Google Analytics is a very powerful tool that provides a lot of really insightful information, but it really comes down to understanding that information and being able to tie it back to your goals, right? So typically the main tools that we use are Google Analytics and Google AdWords. And the difference between the two is Google Analytics is, it tracks your website activity. Google AdWords is a self-service ad platform that allows advertisers to advertise across of. So by it being self-service, we have full control over any keywords we'd like to bid on, our ad copy, our targeting. Maybe we want to do some display network targeting or even remarketing. And since AdWords integrates with products like Google Analytics and YouTube, we have the ability to link up with our YouTube accounts, and we can advertise our YouTube videos across of that, or we can sync it directly with Google Analytics, and we can pull in a lot of really valuable data, such as, how many impressions are we generating, how many clicks, what's our click-through rate, how many conversions, whether they're phone calls or whether they're people requesting e-prices or scheduling test drives. And then what's our engagement look like? How engaged is the traffic that we're driving? Are they looking at multiple vehicles or multiple pages per session? Are they bouncing, which means that they're coming to the site and they're leaving immediately? And so these are all the kinds of metrics that we can analyze, and then we can align them with our business goals to ensure that we're reaching them. So looking at digital KPIs or key performance indicators. So the large advantage that digital has over television, billboards, radio, newspapers is the ability to track. It's very difficult to run a billboard ad and know exactly how many people saw that. Well, with digital advertising, you can see exactly how many times your ad was shown. You can look at the reach and the frequency of the ad. You can see how many clicks you generated. But most importantly, you can see what's happening after the person clicks on the ad or after the person clicks to your website. And so with any goal, we want to follow these pretty straightforward criteria. We want SMART goals. We want specific. So the KPI needs to be clear, and it needs to be focused towards a specific performance target. It needs to be measurable, and measurable quantitatively. We need to be able to assign an actual number to this and be able to have a goal and optimize towards attaining whatever quantitative measurement we'd like to achieve. And that falls into the next two, attainable and realistic. We need to be able to set goals that we know are realistic within what we're doing, but also attainable. So, it wouldn't be realistic to say I want to generate 1,000 phone calls a day, but maybe it is realistic to say I want to generate 50 or 100. But we really have to step back and say, okay, what are your goals, and how do the key performance indicators align with those goals? And the last thing is time-based. So how do we perform day over day or week over week or month over month? It's constantly analyzing trends and saying, is this working? And the only way to do that is we need to have specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based goals that we can track, and then we can do or track correctly and not over-report. So that way, that's the only way we'll be able to definitively know if what we're doing is working. So a very interesting study that we came across by another advertising agency, they looked at over 2,000 AdWords accounts, and the results were a little bit astounding. They found that of the 2,000 accounts that were analyzed, only about 58%, a little over half, actually had conversion tracking set up. So that means that half these advertisers out there were running campaigns and not really measuring what they were doing. So it's very hard at the end of the month to say, hey, we spent $4,000 or $5,000 on these ads. What did we get out of it? Say, well, we didn't really track it. And then even of the 58%, only 51% of those, so about 29.5% overall, out of all 2,000 accounts analyzed, were tracking meaningful metrics that actually could have some impact on it towards their business goals. So that tells me that 70% of the advertisers out there, and again, this is just based upon the sample size, but it's pretty consistent across the board that by and large, people either are not tracking conversions at all, or if they are, they're not meaningful and they don't align with their actual business goals. Something else this study found was that 61% of the ad spend was wasted. Darren had hit on earlier about how here at J&L we are very thorough with our negative keywords. The thing about digital marketing and advertising is it's extremely easy to spend money, but it's even more difficult to spend it effectively. And a crucial component of that is understanding user search intent and creating negative keywords that way you're not showing up for irrelevant search queries. But part of that too is making sure that you're tracking things and you're measuring things and you're optimizing and constantly refining the process so you can improve. And what they found was that for every 10% increase in wasted ad spend, your cost per conversion will also increase 10%. So everybody has very specific cost per conversion or cost per acquisition goals in mind. Well, the easiest way to minimize your cost per conversion is to minimize your wasted ad spend. And so a very simple way to do that is by measuring things and by implementing proper conversion tracking to understand where you're missing the boat at. Okay, so there's major types of conversion tracking, and it really depends on what exactly you're trying to do and how that aligns with your goals. So we can look at it by as far as like traffic KPIs. So, how many page views are you generating to your website, or how many clicks are you generating from ads? And then visibility KPIs. So maybe you want to do you're a new dealership in town and you really want to do a big brand awareness pitch. So we can track impression share. We can track our overall impressions and our frequency and reach, and see how many people we're reaching, and then the response of those people. And then engagement. So how are people interacting with your ads? Or are they clicking on them? Are they sharing them? Maybe you have Facebook or some social media ads running. Are they liking them? Are they commenting? Are they engaging? And then when they get to your website, how are they interacting with your website? Are they leaving immediately? Are they making their way towards specific key pages but then leaving? All these things are very important that ultimately lead into the last of the conversion KPIs. So actually collecting the consumer or user information and then being able to use that to drive them further into either the showroom or getting them out the door and buying a new car or whatever it is. But we can track email newsletter signups. We can track people that are calling your dealership. We can track a number of different things, form completions. But there's different types of KPIs, and they all have different metrics that align with each. So I think it's always important to take a step back and ask yourself, how do you know which KPIs to choose in order to improve your ad spend and stop wasting money? Well, that really kind of aligns with your business goals. So what is your business goal? Maybe it's you want to highlight a specific model this month, or maybe you just want to try to drive as many people into the showroom as possible. Whatever it is, we need to understand which KPIs are important for that goal and how does it align. And then ultimately, how do you choose the correct KPIs, and how do you update them to align with your ever-changing business goals? Because people have to pivot a lot and change their ways, and it's always important that you need to have measurable metrics that can tell you whether or not you're achieving your goals. So let's take a look real fast at the marketing funnel. And so there's a few major stages, right? There's an awareness stage, and then there's a consideration stage, and then the conversion stage. So whether the people are very low intent and at the top of the funnel, maybe they're just starting their car buying process, or maybe they're already in the consideration stage. Maybe they're saying, hey, I think I've narrowed it down. I'm interested in a Honda or maybe a Hyundai, and I'm not really sure for sure, but I'm going to compare the models that I like, and I'm going to look at the different features. And then they're ready for the purchase stage. And they say, okay, I finally decided exactly what I've wanted. I'm going to reach out to the dealership that I think is going to give me the best rates, the best deals, and then hopefully I can purchase that new. But the marketing funnel and the activities need to align with what you're tracking. So again, if you're a brand new dealership and your goal is to just people aware of you're new in town, you want to drive awareness, you want to try to just get as much exposure out there, well, then we need to measure the impressions or the reach or the frequency of your ads. But maybe you want to see how engaged people are. We can say, okay, well, let's take a look at your bounce rate and your pages per session and see how people are interacting with your website. Are there certain pages that they're leaving your website on, or is there certain ones that seem to be drawing more traffic than others? And then again, towards the bottom, you've got lead generation or your purchase decision. So once people have been through their whole process and they're ready to buy, you need to make sure that you're moving them further down that funnel. But not only that, but you're also making sure that your brand has strong awareness throughout the stages. So maybe you're doing remarketing ads to people that maybe they haven't filled out a form yet, but you're still going to keep continuing to serve them some specific ads to try to get them to come back and convert. And then after the fact, you've got loyalty and service. So how can you bring back inactive or pre-existing customers, or how can you market to your buyers who need service on their cars? Well, we can take a look at remarketing lists. But what we can also do is customer match. So within a CRM, we've got a lot of customer data, right? Well, we can match that data back to Google AdWords via emails. We can match it back to maybe Facebook, and we can create custom audiences, and we can serve very specific messaging to those audiences. But we have to make sure that we align our goals with our KPIs. So if your goal is awareness, then it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have lead generation or purchase decision KPIs, but vice versa. So if you want people to convert, but you're only measuring impressions or clicks, then you're not really telling the whole story. So it's all got to work together, and it all really needs to tie in with your business goals. So as a car dealership, I'm sure everybody has very specific goals to ROI, whether it's reducing cost, comparing new versus used versus lease, or maybe you want to focus on customer satisfaction. So how many new customers are you driving in? How many recurring customers? And then everybody knows how important phone calls are, but are you segmenting those calls between sales calls or service calls or even total volume in general? Are calls something that you're recording? What about lead-to-show ratio? So you have all these people that are filling out these conversion forms, and they want to schedule a meeting to come in and look at a vehicle, but maybe they're not showing up. So what are some things that you can do to try to, push them over the edge and get them into the showroom? And then ultimately your showroom traffic or your website traffic. Those two typically correlate with sales. So obviously the more people you can drive into your showroom, then the more sales, in theory, you should produce. The same with website traffic. The more people you can drive to your website and get them interested, in theory, you'll drive them into your showroom and thus resulting in sales. But there is a disconnect between car dealers and your specific goals and KPIs in digital marketing. So it's very difficult to measure showroom traffic from Google AdWords. Or looking at new customers or recurring customers, it's very difficult to know just from off the dashboard whether or not that was a new or recurring customer. But you can get a little savvy with it, and you can say, okay, well, I'm going to create remarketing lists. And that way I know they're recurring customers. Or I'm going to exclude my remarketing list and my customer list, and that's how I know that they're new customers. But the goals that you have maybe at the dealership might not necessarily align one-to-one with the goals that you would have online. However, you can create digital KPIs that will align with your goals for the dealership. But we can track online phone calls. We can track the keyword that generated the phone call. We know the time of day. We're able to track the caller name, the caller number, how long the call lasted, and we even record that and we embed that into our online reporting dashboard for our clients. We can record form submissions, and not just form submissions from ads, but form submissions from all channels. So say they came directly to the website. Maybe they came from an organic search. Maybe they went into Google and they did a search for your dealership, and then they went on your website and they filled out a form. Well, we can track these things. But also engagement. So maybe there's actions on your websites. Maybe you have PDF downloads. Maybe you have certain buttons that you'd like to track. Maybe you have videos that you have available to your customers. We can track all of these things and report on which channels are driving the most website engagement. But also clicks, right? So clicks is pretty straightforward. It tells us how many people actually arrive to the dealership website. But then that kind of can tie in with the showroom traffic. So we should see a correlation between more website traffic with more showroom traffic. And then click-through rate. Now, click-through rate's kind of valuable just from a cost standpoint. So in theory, the higher your click-through rate, the lower your keyword quality score is. The higher your click-through rate, the higher your quality score. And what that means is, with higher quality scores, you'll pay less on average in the ad auction, and then you'll ultimately be able to get more clicks for your budget. But we also look at things like bounce rate and time on site, pages per session, the actual engagement on your website and how people are engaging. Are people going to multiple pages? Are they leaving immediately? Are there certain pages that they seem to be leaving on? And then we can look at emails, page views, website visits, social media interaction, whether that's paid or whether that's organic. But by looking at these KPIs and aligning them with your business goals, then we can start to connect the dots between the two. And we can say, okay, well, we want to get more phone calls. Well, how many phone calls did we have from paid search? How many phone calls did we have from the website? How many phone calls did we have from Facebook? And then we can start connecting the dots between the various channels. So tracking goals. So this ultimately comes down to, where do you need improvement at your dealership? What do you want to increase, or what do you want to improve on most? So maybe you said, well, we had a pretty good month, but I think that maybe the phone calls were a little bit lower, right? So we could say, okay, great. So how can we measure whether or not we're getting phone calls? Well, we could set up conversion tracking, but then maybe people are just calling to get directions, or maybe they're just accidentally dialing. So what we can also implement is call tracking, where we can report on the average duration of the call. and we can say, okay, well, we're only going to consider calls that are 30 seconds or longer to actually be qualified, because we know that after about 30 seconds, then they'll be routed through to a salesman or the service department, and we know that they actually have spoken to a person, and we can qualify that as an actual lead. But also, what channels are going to be the most effective for you? Maybe you want to do a big emphasis on display advertising. As Darren hit on, display advertising continues to grow larger and larger and is actually surpassing paid search. Paid search is going to probably drive the highest number of leads because of its intent. You know, people are in the moment, they're actively searching on a search engine, they have very high intent, but again, it needs to align with your goals. So if your goals are to drive as many people to the website as possible, then we need to say, okay, what is the most cost-effective channel for us to do that? And there's also ongoing testing and analyzing your campaign. And that's the number one way for you to achieve your goals and set measurable goals, is by having a very good look at what do we want to measure, how are we going to measure it, how is this going to help us achieve our dealership goals, and then ultimately, how are we constantly refining our tactics to make sure we're getting the most out of our advertising or marketing budget. So just briefly looking at some of the top digital channels. So we've got Google AdWords, which we hit on briefly. Some of the things you can track are clicks or click-through rate. You can track calls from ads. You can track them from keywords as well. You can look at form completion. So are people filling out requests for quotes, or people filling out test drive forms, or what have you. But also across Google Analytics, we can look at some other things. We can look at maybe we have specific goals set up or events that we'd like to track. We can look at all the website traffic in general and not just the traffic from Google AdWords. We can see our traffic from referral sites. We can look at traffic from organic or direct. Or we can even look at individual page statistics and see which pages seem to be driving the highest engagement. And then there's Facebook Manager. We can look at how many people are commenting on our page or our post or our sponsored ads. We can look at likes, comments, shares, reactions. Facebook has a pixel that we can implement on the website, which allows us to set up conversions. So we can like Google AdWords, we can track many different things with that Facebook conversion pixel. We can also look at our ad reach and frequency. How many people are we reaching with our ads, and how frequently are we serving them? We don't want to bombard them with messaging, but we want to do it enough that it's effective. And then there's YouTube. So YouTube, is owned by Google, second largest search engine in the world, but it integrates flawlessly with Google AdWords. So if you have a YouTube channel and you have a Google AdWords account, you can link the two together, and then you can start serving ads for your videos via YouTube or across the display network. Something else that's valuable about YouTube is, as many of you will probably do currently, is you have television ads. Well, you can take those television ads and you can upload them into YouTube and kind of repurpose them online, because we're seeing more and more people are going online to watch videos than they are doing it on television. And additionally, we can serve ads across Bing Ads network. Now, Bing Ads only takes about probably 9 to 10% of the search engine market share. However, there is some opportunity there that we don't want to miss out on. So we can look at user locations. We can look at impressions and clicks and form completions, some of the very similar metrics that we can look at Google AdWords. And then something that is about a newer channel that's being offered now is Amazon Marketing Services. And Amazon, like Facebook, has a pixel that you can set up conversion tracking, so you can put it on specific thank you pages, or maybe you want to put it in certain buttons or certain pages in general, and you can track how the results are coming across the board. And then how we all do this is we use a product called Google Tag Manager. And Google Tag Manager because it allows us to consolidate all of our specific tagging into one concise location. So instead of constantly sending codes off to the web developer and having to get things hard-coded into the website, all you do is you implement a container, a little small snippet of code into your site, and you put it on all the pages that you'd like to track. So you can even just implement it to like a site header or something, and that'll work across the board. But what it allows us to do is manage all of our tracking in one location. So we don't have to go back and forth with developers, or we don't have to go back and forth with you all at the dealership and take time going that route, because we can manage everything from one location. And you can see on the right all the different products that integrate with with Google Tag Manager that I'm sure a lot of you all are familiar with even today. So it's just a great, again, a free, powerful tool that allows us to keep all of our tracking very clean and organized, and allows us to make changes on the fly. So coming to a conclusion of how to improve digital efforts across the board. So there's a few steps that everyone should take with any time they're analyzing or mapping out their new plan. So analyzing, step one, discovering what needs to be fixed in your digital marketing, and then developing a strategy to help improve those efforts. So analyze, say, oh, this hasn't really been working. What are some of the things that we can do to kind of supplement this or increase our results? And then plan it out. Develop a very strategic plan to focus on those specific metrics. And then execution. So once you get your plan together, you need to execute. And you need to follow through and make sure that you have very clean data and very clean tracking. And then testing and experimenting. So making sure that you have all the proper codes in place and everything is firing correctly and all your tags are coming through cleanly, because you don't want to underreport or overreport. You want very clean data that's very precise. And then ultimately, the final step's optimize, continuous optimization, making sure that you're keeping up. It's a very fast-changing, competitive industry, and it's important to always stay on the cutting edge and staying ahead of the competition. So how does it tie all together? And here's just one small example. Is let's say you're serving ads on Google AdWords, and your ads are driving people to your website. And so you've got a user that's searching for a new car, and they say, oh, well, this ad looks pretty compelling. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And they come to your website. And now they're very interested, and you've provided a form for them to come in and schedule a test drive for that vehicle. So they fill out their name and their email and all their user credentials, maybe their phone number, and then they schedule their test drive and they come into your dealership. Well, that information will be fed into your CRM. Now, at the end of the month, you can look back and say, okay, so who are all the contacts, whether they filled out forms or maybe they came from phone calls, what have you, who are all the contacts in our CRM from digital, and what are the results from them? And you can say, oh, well, we drove, 20 new contact us form completions. We had another dozen or so people schedule test drives. We had about 100 phone calls. And at the end of the day, at the end of the month, we sold about 30 new vehicles. So it's very easy for you to show the return on investment there by saying, hey, we only spent a few $1,000s and we definitely got our money's worth out of it. But it's all tying it all together of collecting the information and pushing it through the CRM and seeing at the end of the month what happens. So right now we're just going to up to some questions and answers. I know we had just a few that came in through while we're talking. Just give me a second. I can get those pulled open. Okay, so we had somebody that was asking about what is the email program that we used and how is that being charged. So this was something that Darren was hitting. It was Gmail ads, and how we serve Gmail ads is actually through the Google AdWords. It's part of the Google Display Network, and there's actually over 1 billion active users on Gmail. So it's a very great method of being able to get a hold of people, or being able to put your messaging right in their inbox. And how you get charged is you get charged on a cost per click basis. So if your ad's served and then somebody clicks on it, and they click on it, then their message will open, and you can provide a link, or maybe you have an image. You can even embed videos, and that will redirect people to that website. So just give me a second. Let me pull up a couple more questions that we had here. All right, so I just wanted to review the poll results with everybody real quick. So it looks like about 90% of you are currently tracking conversions, which is great to see. I'd be curious to have a little more insight into what exactly you're tracking and what kind of value you're getting out of those. Also, what kind of KPIs are you currently tracking on your website? It looks like a good majority of you are tracking form completions, almost 90%, followed by some engagement metrics, phone calls, and then button clicks, and then there's a handful that aren't currently tracking anything. So what percent of your budget's allocated? So we've got a good mix here between looks like 5 to 10%, 25 to 40%, and 40% or more. So that's good to see that a lot of you are definitely actively advertising on digital and showing some returns there. And then the last question, how much are you currently spending? So it looks like that again ranges from anywhere between 2,000 up to 5,000 or more. So I'm very happy to see that people are starting to realize, and you all especially are seeing the benefit from digital marketing, and I'm hoping to see, hear that you all are having a positive impact from that. So without further ado, that just about wraps our time up today. Again, I wanted to thank each and every one of you for joining us today, especially Darren. Always appreciate your support at Google. And if anybody,
You're very welcome.
If anybody has any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me at twilson@jnlmarketing.com. And also a special offer that I can offer all of our webinar listeners today is if you reach out and you mention the webinar, we can offer $500 off your first month of digital marketing services with JNL. Just reach out to myself or JNL Marketing and mention the webinar, and we can give you that deal. So we thank everybody once again for attending, and we hope to see you at our next webinar.
Thanks, everybody.